Hello guys, welcome back to today's second session. Uh, Let me to start a last topic of this first module, that is loaders. Okay, so as I already told you when I started this subject for the first class in the first class, uh, system software examples I had given you, right? So operating system, okay, is a best example for system software. Then the programs where we write, usually we write in text editors. Some text editors in which we write the programs are also examples for system software. After writing the program, we compile those programs if they are written in high level language, or else we assemble those programs if they are written in assembly level programs. So these compilers and assemblers are also examples for system softwares. Then after compiling or after assembling, so one program can be linked with another program. Suppose if you have two or three object programs, we can link them together by using one more system software that is called as linker. Okay, so after linking these all programs together, now we will load these programs into the memory for execution. So loader will load these programs into the memory for execution. So loader is also one more example for system software. After loading the programs into the memory, so next we will find out any errors and we will debug some errors there. Or else before uploading into the memory also we can debug the programs. So last one more example I want to tell you, that is a debugger is also one example for system software. So operating system is the best example for system software. Text editors, compilers, assemblers, debuggers, linkers, loaders. These all are examples for system softwares. In that one already I told you assemblers. Now we are going to study loaders, but not in detail, only just a brief introduction of this loaders we will see in this module. Okay. Now this loader, as its name itself is a loader, its a basic function, its a fundamental function is to load the program, particularly object program, into the memory for execution. Okay, so apart from this loading function, it does or it supports another two functions. One is relocation, and one more function what it can perform is linking. Okay, so here in this page I have given three processes here. So it can process it, mainly it fundamentally basically a loader should perform this loading. What is loading? Bringing or uploading the object program into the memory for execution is called as loading. And in addition to this loading, some loaders will support some additional functions or processes like relocation and linking. What is relocation? Already you know. Okay, so relocation modifies the object program so that that object program can be loaded at a address which is different from the location originally specified in our program. It means that in your program you might have written that your program may start in the address 0, but if the 0 address is already taken by some any other program, then your program will be loaded into the memory wherever the space is available, wherever the address is available for it. That is relocation. Some modification we will do, and modification records we will write in our object program so that we can tell to loader that this program is a relocatable program. Then in addition to this relocation, this loader can perform linking also, that is combining two or more separate object programs together. Okay, so loader will not only load the programs, object programs into the memory, so it can perform relocation also, it can perform linking also. But in this module I am going to explain you one simple loader Okay, its design is very simple. So it is completely focusing on, or it is just performing loading operation or loading process or loading function. It is not performing relocation and linking. So because of this only, for our easy convenient purpose, we are starting our study of loaders with a simple loader which performs only loading operation, not relocation and linking. Clear? Now we will see the basic loader functions. So in here, I have underlined here with pencil the basic fundamental function of loader is bringing an object program into the memory and starting its execution. Correct? So if you remember fundamental functions of assemblers, there were some 3 to 4 fundamental functions were there. In that also, basically, if you want to highlight, the first basic fundamental function of assembler was defining the symbols. Second function was translating the instructions into their machine equivalent language. That is, for each and every instruction, you have to find out the opcode, that is machine language equivalent. Okay, then assembling the instruction like this. Some simple fundamental functions we have already studied. Similarly here also, the fundamental function of loader is bringing or loading an object program into the memory and starting its execution. So here we are going to see the design of one absolute loader. Absolute and relative meanings already I told you. Absolute is nothing but independent. Absolute is nothing but independent. Relative is nothing but it is dependent. Independent means what? This loader is independent of starting of the program, starting address of the program. Okay. Relative means, so this type of loaders or assemblers, relative symbols, relative terms, absolute symbols. So these all things we have already studied, right? So relative means dependent. This loader will be dependent upon the starting address of the program. Based on that, it will be keep on assigning the addresses and it will be keep on loading the object program into the memory. Okay. So now we are going to see the loader which is independent of a memory locations or starting address of the program and all those things. Okay. So here just now what I told you is our basic loader is not performing any other functions apart from loading. So since we are studying our basic loader, it performs only uh, loading operation. Okay. Then in every loader, all operations, all functions will be completed by a single pass or completed within a single pass. So you can call this loader as one pass loader. Just like today's morning, or I think in previous class, I told you one pass assembler. Similarly, this loader is one pass loader it is. Okay. So now all functions of loader will be performed in only one pass. Means what are those all functions? That is loading the object program into the memory and executing the loaded object program. Okay. So apart from this, it can perform relocation and linking. But since we have considered very simple design of loader, here this loader is not performing linking process or program relocation. It is performing only loading. Okay. Now come to that part here in this diagram. I call this diagram as A and I call this diagram as B. So what are these figures A and B? So figure A is representing once again the same object program what you have already written for SIC program, same program. Okay. So for this object program, now the loader will start to load this object program into the memory. And how it loads into the memory, after loading it into the memory, how exactly it looks like. Here I have shown you in figure B. This is the memory space, how exactly our object program looks like when the loader loads it into the memory. Okay. So here you can observe our program was started in the address 1000 and its length was 1007A. Already you know this one. Okay. And here starting from the address 1000 here. So, but our memory starts from 0, correct? So these all addresses are marked as X mark here, cross mark. But from 1000 address, our object programs started to be loaded. Our object program started to be loaded into the memory from the address 1000. Okay. Now, if you are marking these all spaces as blank, what it means? This means that this space is occupied by some other program. This space is occupied by some other program, or some other program is loaded into this space. Okay. In fact, in your own object program also, you have written X or cross mark here. Correct. So this space, why we have marked it as a why we have marked it as a cross mark. Okay. So why we have marked it as a cross mark? Because here, uh, huh, because after this object code, that is 0000, that is this one. Okay. So here there are no any object codes here. In fact, if you open your SIC program, you will not get object programs here. Okay, you will not get object programs. So you will not get object codes though. So those where you are not generating object codes, so this space we have kept it as blank. And when again you start to write the object codes from this address, we have started to load the object codes. Once again we started to make the list of object codes like this. Then here so much amount of memory is there, no, in between this one and this one. So this one, why we have kept it as blank? So this blank space is either utilized by our own program instruction, because buffer length is 1000. If you remember, in our program the length of the buffer is 1000, so that will be utilized like this. Or else after that also, if there is so much amount of memory is remaining here, in this memory we are going to store some other program contents here. Okay. So it means that this memory will not be wasted. Okay. So there already previously whatever the programs were loaded, whatever the instructions were loaded, those instructions were of our previous program or some other program or some secondary other any other user's program. So those bytes will be reserved for those instructions, and still they are using that memory. Don't worry that we are wasting sir memory here and all those things. Okay. So next you just keep on listing your object codes. Then this is whatever the box we have drawn here, this is completely which program? Object program, copy object program. Okay. Because here name of the program itself is a copy. So then I wanted to tell you one thing here. When you generated object code, okay, when you generated object code, if you consider, for example, first object code in your SIC program is 141033. Okay. So and since it is a SIC program, all instructions are using instruction format number 3, that is 3-byte instructions. So in that one, yesterday only I told you, first 1 byte is used for upcode. 1 byte is used for upcode, that is upcode of LDA instruction or something it was there. I exactly I don't remember what this instruction it is. I think it is STL. Okay. STL return address. Correct. So STL upcode is 14 and address of return address is 1033. So here yesterday only I told you. So this 1033, this portion is taking 2 bytes, and this upcode is taking 1 byte. Upcode is taking 8 bits. 8 bits is nothing but 1 byte, and remaining flag bit, 1 bit of flag bit, and next 15 bits of address field. Total 16 bits. Total 16 bits is taken by the address of that operand of that instruction. So that 16 bit is nothing but 2 bytes. So 2 plus 1, 3 bytes. Total length of that instruction is 3 bytes. in these 3 bytes, here I have written object code with 6 digits here, 6 digits. Okay, so you just remember these. If you consider these all 6 digits as a 6 characters, then definitely it occupies 6 bytes, correct? Because the size of a character is 1 byte. If each character takes 1 byte, then 6 characters are here, then it takes 6 bytes. But actually, so this, when you get the opcode of STL instruction as a 14, so this 14, if you consider if it is in a character form, okay, remember my words what I am using. Okay, so if you think that this is this is written in a character form means, so 1 is different character, 4 is different character. Okay, so separate different characters if you consider, then 1 will take 1 byte and 4 will take 1 more byte. So because 2 characters are there, so when you upload this 14 into your memory, it will occupy 2 bytes instead of 1 byte, correct? So because of that only, what we have to do is we have to combine these 2 characters, 1 and 4. Then we should make it as a 14, and 14 is a single single character. We treat it as a single character so that it can occupy only 1 byte of memory instead of 2 bytes of memory. Then how to do it? This conversion. So earlier it was in a character form. Now we have to convert it into hexadecimal. Okay, so hexadecimal. So because so these all were ASCII characters, ASCII. So we have to convert these ASCII into hexadecimal. So then after conversion of hexadecimal, it will be loaded into the memory as a 14, not as a 1 and 4. Okay, so if you store it as a character in the as a character form, then it will take 2 bytes here, 1 byte for 1 and 1 more byte for 4. So instead of taking 2 bytes, it took only 1 byte when you combine these 2 characters and make them as a single character as a hexadecimal value. Okay, so this conversion will be done by the loader when it reads the object program. In object program, sequence of object codes are there, one by one all the object codes it will scan and it will convert them into its required format. Okay, instead of wasting a lot of memory here, it has taken them as a single character. So when it converts it, then one by one it will load these all object codes after converting, and then it will reach last address. Okay, that is the end address of that program. So after that, once again it will jump back here, then it starts execution. That is the next process. Okay, we are just focusing on loading now. Okay, now here already I told you why it is marked as X and all those things. Okay, it indicates that previous contents of these locations remain unchanged. It means the previous locations, previous contents of these memory is not unchanged, means they are not modified. Whatever the values were stored in those spaces, they are there only. Those spaces were occupied by some other program and those programs values are there. Okay, instructions and operation operands are there. Now you just remember whatever the words just now I explained in my explanation, those all things are here. It is absolute loader. Okay, it means it is a independent of a starting address of the program and all those things, and it is in a character form. Okay, so here we are going to see now one algorithm for this absolute loader. Very simple and small program, sorry, algorithm. Okay, so this may be asked in your exam. Very small algorithm. Write an algorithm for absolute loader. Okay, you may be asked for 4 or 6 marks. So very simple, nothing is there. What it is doing, just observe here. Begin, read the header record. Okay, so first it takes a object program as input, correct? So then it wants to load that complete object program into the memory. So first it reads the header record, verify the program name and length, because in header record you will get both of these details, name of a program as a copy and length of the program as a 107A. Okay, in fact, you will get starting address of the program also as 1,000. Okay, next read the first text record. Next, when you come to text record after completion of header record, that loader will read the text record. In that text record, if the record type is not equal to E, what is E? E is end record. It means that if your loader is not yet reached the end record, it means you are in between header record and end record. It means you are in which record? Text record. Okay, then what you have to do, that condition was written in while loop. If you have not yet reached the end record, it means that you are still in a text record or modification record, or it may be define record, or it may be refer record. Okay, so begin. What you have to begin? If object code is in a character form, correct? So earlier I told you 14 is in a character form. If the object code is in a character form, then that loader will convert into the internal representation. Okay, internal representation means however it wants to be in that format, it converts it and it loads it. So move that object code to the specified location in the memory. Okay, it will load that object code, one single object code, into the specified location in the memory. Which location? 1033, or else the address of STL instruction. Address of STL instruction, because STL return address. In this instruction, the STL, if you observe left side of STL in a location column, you get the address of STL instruction, and it takes 3 bytes. In that 3 bytes, that complete object code will be loaded. That instruction will be loaded. Actually, it's already converted object code will be loaded. Okay, so next, read next object program record. Okay, read next object program record. It means one by one, you will read the all object programs and end. Okay, so after that, what is there here? Jump to the address specified in a end record. It means since you have written this condition in a while loop, so all text records will be read and it will be uploaded or loaded into the memory. And then after that, loader will jump to the end record. In end record, you know the syntax of end record. You have mentioned the address in a end record. In end record, what address you are mentioning is nothing but that is the starting address of the program you are mentioning. It means that the program which was started in the address 1000 is ended here, right? End 1000, E 1000 you have written, if you remember. So then the loader will jump to that address and it starts execution. So end. So this is the job of loader. Which loader? Absolute loader. Very simple algorithm. Okay. Now, as I already told you, if these characters, pair of characters 1 and 4, if you take them as a separate characters, we have to convert them into hexadecimal value 14. Okay, we have to combine them together. Okay, so now what we have to do is, after converting this into hexadecimal digit, so there again 8 bytes will be there. 8 bytes, sorry, 8 bits. 8 bits is nothing but 1 byte, correct? So always remember, if you remember, when we used instruction format number 4 in modification record, their last 20 bits of address was there. So those 20 bits we have not represented in terms of bytes. We have represented in terms of half bytes, correct? So 5 half bytes were there. 5 half bytes is equal to 20 bits. Instead of calling the 20 bits as a 2.5 bytes, we call it as a 5 half bytes. Similarly, here also we should represent this 14 in terms of half byte. Okay, so if this 1 is taking around some 8 bits and 4 is also taking 8 bits, okay, so or else the first 4 leftmost 4 bits should be shifted to left, that is by performing left circular shift, left circular shift, and from the second digit again leftmost 4 bits will be taken and it will be added to it, and totally it will become 1 byte. I repeat once again, how to convert this one I am telling you. If 1 is a character, it takes 1 byte. 1 byte means what? Okay, 8 bits, correct? So in a first SIC, when I was talking about data formats, at that time only I told you in SIC we can store integers, either positive or negative integers, but we cannot store floating point values, but we can store characters again, and characters take 1 byte, correct? So that 1 byte is nothing but 8 bits. When you write this 1 in the form of hexadecimals, 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1, so 8 bits binary sequences you will write. In that one, what you have to do is you have to take leftmost 4 bits and you have to ignore rightmost bits. I repeat, you have to take leftmost 4 bits and you have to ignore rightmost 4 bits. Then take a second character. Similarly, you represent it in 8 bits of hexadecimal values. Then again, you take only leftmost 4 bits and you ignore rightmost 4 bits. And whatever the leftmost 4 bits you have taken, you append those leftmost 4 bits to this 4 bits. Then it will become 8 bits. That is 1 byte. So like this, we have to convert this character forms into hexadecimal digit. Okay. So now we will see one simple bootstrap loader. Okay. Simple bootstrap loader. Bootstrap loader means it is a special type of loader. Very, very special type of loader it is. Okay. So just remember, when I was teaching you operating system subject OS in previous semester, there I told you about this bootstrap loader or bootstrap program. Okay, since loader is a system software is nothing but program, so you can call it as a bootstrap program or bootstrap loader. You know, whenever we start the computer, okay, for the first time our operating system starts to run. Okay, so since that operating system is also a program, that program should be loaded into the memory, right? So somebody should be there to load this program into the memory. That somebody is nothing but this bootstrap loader. Are you getting what I am telling? So whenever we start the computer system, the first program which will run is nothing but bootstrap loader, because it is a program or it is a software. The first software or first program what we run whenever we switch on the computer is bootstrap loader. So first, this bootstrap loader will load in a memory itself. Okay, because of that only I told it as a very special loader. It is bootstrap loader, and it starts or it is loaded into the memory address 0. And how long it will take? It takes around 80 bytes. It means if your the memory is 0, if it starts to load into the memory 0 up to 0079, up to 0079 bootstrap loader will be loaded, and from 80, okay, from the address 80 onwards it will start to load the operating system. Are you getting what I am telling? Okay, so this bootstrap loader design we are going to see now. Okay, so now you see here the bootstrap itself is loaded in the address 0, and then from address 80 onwards it starts to load some operating system or any other programs. Okay, so here we will see after loading that operating system, it starts to load the next executable programs. It may be your assembly level program or it may be any other program. Okay, now here I have written 3 columns here: ASCII values, hexadecimal values, and decimal numeric values. So why I have written here? So that you can understand them better. So 0 to 9 I have written, and 10 is treated as A, B, C, D up to F. And then the numeric values, equivalent to numeric values are 0 to 9, and A is equivalent value of numeric value or decimal value is 10, F is 15. So in between them I have written hexadecimal. First ASCII should be converted into hexa, and hexa should be converted into decimal. Okay, so here so this conversion will be done by that bootstrap loader. Okay, so in our program, whatever I am going to show you, there we have one subroutine get C. Okay, subroutine is nothing but it is just like your a function definition of your C program or any other any other programming language. So this get C is a subroutine which performs some conversions. Okay, so here how to convert this one, some trick is there. So we have to subtract 48 from some value, so then we will get that. All those things are there. Okay, don't worry more about that one. Some ASCII should be converted to hexa, and hexa can be converted to decimal. It is very easy method. Okay, so when this get C jumps to the address 80, which is the end of that file. Okay, and you know, in our object program, if you remember our normal assembly procedure, first we had a source program, and our assembler has converted into object program, and that object program has loaded into our secondary memory first. Okay, from secondary memory we have loaded into memory, that is primary memory. But yesterday I discussed one more special type of loader, that is load and go. In that case, we are not loading the object program in a secondary memory. We are directly loading it into the primary memory, right? That is a different case it is. So if you consider that our program, object program is right now it is stored or saved in a secondary memory, then now we want to load it into the memory. Loader will load it. Okay, now for loader, this secondary memory is there now. It is acting as an input device, because the object program is stored or saved in a secondary memory, and loader will fetch or take that object program from that secondary memory, and then it loads it into the primary memory. So here for loader, secondary memory is nothing but it is a device F1. F1 already I told you in the beginning of this module. F1 is a hexadecimal constant for any input device. Okay, and similarly I had told you hexadecimal equivalent value for output device, that is 05. Okay, so just remember here hexadecimal value F1 is input device. It is representing one input device for that is called as a secondary storage for this loader. Okay, so here the main loop of our bootstrap loader keeps the addresses of next memory addresses loaded into the register X. You know, X register is used for indexing purpose, and here also it is used for indexing, but here it is used mainly to store or to hold the address of next memory location. So right now you are loading one object program into the one memory location, but which is the next available memory location for me? You will get that information from register X. Okay. So here get C is basically this subroutine in our program is used to read and convert the pair of character forms. Okay. Character from device 1. I already told how to convert it. Okay. Now we will go to the program actually. One more thing I wanted to tell you. Since in our program we are using a, TIXR instruction, that is register to register instruction. Here what we do usually, one register will be compared with another register. It means that usually we use in this instruction one register, that is X register, as a index register. Just like our for loop, the variable I, how we use, and we increment it by one value, that is I plus plus. Okay. Here also in TIX we will increment the value of X for every iteration, and after incrementing it we will compare its value with the one more register instead of comparing it with the memory operand. So because of that only I have written it as a TIXR here instead of TIX. I already told you the difference between TIX and TIXR. Okay. Since we are not going to compare the value of X with any other register. Okay. We are not going to compare the value of X with any other register. In this instruction TIXR in our program, I have taken the same X once again as a second operand here. So this X value is comparing itself with its own value. It is not comparing its value with any other new register here. So because of that only I have taken that second register also as a X here. Keep it in mind. Okay. So this program whatever I am telling you, this program is nothing but it is a bootstrap loader program for SICXC machine. Because of that only I am using here register to register instructions like TIXR, COMPR, like this. Okay. So just remember this is a bootstrap loader for which machine? SICXC. And most of the times they have asked in your exam this program. Explain the bootstrap loader, write the bootstrap loader, write the code for bootstrap loader. Okay. Simple, whatever just now I told you, the same thing is here. So these dotted lines are there, no, these the lines which are beginning with the dots are comment lines. If you read these comment lines, automatically you will understand what our loader is going to do, particularly bootstrap loader. Just first read these comment lines, then I come to that program. Okay. Start this reading this comment lines here. This bootstrap reads object code from a device F1. Obviously object program is stored in the secondary storage. So secondary storage F1 is a input device for this loader, and in that input device object program is there. Object program has a list of object codes. One by one it is reading that object code, and after reading that object code, what it does, the loader enters that object code into the memory starting at the address 80, because up to 80 the own that uh, this one is taken, that is uh, this one bootstrap loader, and then it starts to load this into the memory 80. After all of the code from a device F1 has been seen entered into the memory, the bootstrap executes a jump to the address 80. It means after loading all the object codes into the memory, it goes back to the starting of the object program, that is in the address 80. Why it goes back? To begin the execution of that program which was just now loaded. Okay. And here we are using register X. What it contains? It contains the next address to be loaded. Next address to be loaded. Okay. So now come to this subroutine. The subroutine to read one character from the input device. This subroutine is itself is a get C. Remember what this is playing very important role here. This get C subroutine is written here to read one character from the input device for every iteration, and it converts it from ASCII code to hexadecimal digit. See here, correct? just now I told you, it converts it from ASCII code to hexadecimal digit value. Then after converting, the converted digit value is returned in a or stored in a register A. Okay, hexadecimal value will be stored in a register A. When an end of file is read, that is nothing but when it reads the end record, the control will go back to the starting address, that is 80, for execution of that program. Okay, very simple bootstrap loader it is, because it is not performing relocation and linking. So just see the first executable statement of your bootstrap loader. Actually, you have only this much program, some just 10 lines of program it is. So first executable instruction in your bootstrap loader program is boot start 0. What it is? Start is a assembler directive which is indicating the beginning of the program address, starting address of the program, that is 0, and the boot is indicating it is the name of the program. Okay, next line is loop, sorry, clear A. Clear A, it means you assign the 0 value to this A. Okay, so then after that one value you are going to store in the X. The next executable, sorry, next the address to be loaded is a 80. So initialize that X, register X to hexadecimal 80 it is. So its equivalent ASCII or decimal value is 128. So here we have written 128. So 80 will be loaded into this X. Remember the content of the register X is 80. Next loop will be started from here. Jump to subroutine get C. So come to get C and test the input device. If the input device is not ready, keep on repeating these two statements. Once the input device comes ready, input device is nothing but here our secondary storage. Then read the data from input device. Read the data is nothing but here, read one object code from input device and compare 4 with register A. Register A contains 80. Okay, and this 4 is nothing but it is a end of the file. Hexadecimal value of this 4 is a 4. It is indicating end of file. So always remember, in hexadecimal we represent this end of file by value 04. So it means that it is just checking whether it is the end of the file or what. Of course it is not end of the file. Just now I have taken one object code from the object program. Then if it is equal to 80, if it is equal to 80, then jump. Where to jump? Jump to start of the program just loaded. Jump to 80. Okay, so since we have not reached 80, okay, so then you skip this statement and come to next statement. Compare it with 48. Compare that value with the 48. 48 is nothing but its hexadecimal value, equivalent value is 30. So it's nothing but it is telling character 0. So of course it is 0. Okay, comparing with a 0. If it is less than, then get C. Go back to get C. It means that skip that characters which are less than 0. So our program is in between 0 to 79. So here you skip it. Then come and compare it with a 10. What is this 10? If the result is less than 10, then conversion is complete. Okay. So after 10, after 9, usually we write the 10 as A, B, C, D, E, F like this. Correct? So because of that only we have taken it as 10 here. If it is less than 10, then conversion is complete. Otherwise means it is greater than 10. Then subtract 7 more. It means why sir 7? Okay, within 5 minutes this meeting will end. So after that, if this class is completed, you rejoin for another 5 minutes. Then I complete this topic. Okay. So why sir another 7 we have to subtract? Because after 9, if we consider hexadecimal values A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. For those 7 characters, we have to subtract it once again. So these all subtraction, addition, these all are done inside register A. Okay, then return to subroutine. Return to subroutine. Which subroutine? That is nothing but return to caller. Who is calling this one? This boot was calling. So after jsub get c, read the hexadecimal digit from the program being loaded. So this get c will read the hexadecimal digit from the program. Okay, that may be 1, 4, like this. One by one, all the characters it will read. And next instruction is RMO. What it does? In register A, whatever you had stored, that value you will store it into the register S, which is a general purpose register. Because in the next iteration, once again I want this A. So because of that only I store the value of I, whatever the content it was, I will store it into the register S. Then shift S, shift L. What it does? It does here in S, whatever the value just now you have stored, it's you perform shifting there. How many bits? 4 bits. Leftmost 4 bits you have to move. Okay. Next, once again jsub get c. It means to read the next hexadecimal digit. Once again you go to get c and you perform these all things. Again come back to this. Okay. So after this jsub, which instruction is there? Add r. This time you have to add S and A registers. So register to register instruction. Because of that only, instead of writing only add, I have written add R. Content of S will be added with the content of A. That is nothing but what I am doing is here I am combining the digits to form the 1 byte. Is it clear now? Now STCH. Now in A, that whatever the value you just now combined and you stored, that value you have to store it into the register X once again. In register X, particularly in which address? 0. Okay. Store the character. Store at the address in the register X. Okay. Then TIXR. You increment the value of X. That is nothing but in the next memory what object code I want to read. Then X should not be compared with any other registers. So simply once again I have taken it as X here. It will compare its value, its own value with itself. Add 1 to the memory address being loaded. Then jump to C loop, or sorry, loop. Jump to loop. Where is loop? Here. Again jsub instruction will be executed 2 times. It means get C will be executed 2 times. Like this, for each and every object code of your object program, these steps will be executed. At last, here symbol definition part is there. Byte. For F1 you are for input you are reserving 1 byte, and here you end the loop. Is it clear? So this is very simple bootstrap loader program. You may be asked in your exam. Okay. So this completes your first module. Okay. So whatever the assignments I have given to you day by day based on the topics I was covering on that particular day, you should write it and you should submit it. Okay. So before tomorrow, you all of you mail those all assignments to my mail ID. Okay. So in the next class I start a second module. First module is very basic and fundamental, and also so much these are there conversions and all those things. Already you know this one, how to convert source program to object program and all those things. So these all basics things you should be very much strong. So intentionally I went very much slowly. Okay. So from next class onwards we will start